to 6. Do they need to avoid being in the play-in to make a deep playoff run, you think?
They do, but let me give a lot of credit to Adam Silver and the NBA for adding the play-in tournament. It has been one of the best things that has happened for the NBA because we've been actually in the postseason for the last month and a half. So let's get that out the way. But yes, the Warriors do need to get into the postseason. You get a week off, being able to rest. You got old vets over there, and Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond get an opportunity to get their rest, get their legs up under them. Think about where they were before Jimmy Butler started, right? They were 10th or 11th in the Western Conference, so they had to make up so much ground and play at a high level that getting a week of rest and staying out of that play-in tournament is going to do wonders, especially for Steph Curry.
Bobby, you agree? Why is this 6th seed so critical, you think, for the Warriors?
Well, I just think I go back to what LeBron James said earlier in the week after they clinched the top 6 seed. They get rest. They get a full week off instead of playing Tuesday in a play-in and possibly a Friday play-in game to play Oklahoma City. They get a full week off of 3 players in their mid-30s here, and they have the opportunity to do that. Certainly where their schedule is with Portland and then that Clipper game on Sunday, which should be – that game will mean a lot as far as where these standings – that game could determine who gets out of possibly the Western Conference based on where either one of those teams gets seated here. But they got to get in the top 6. They can't get in that 7-8 game.
You look at those standings that we just had, you see the Lakers at the 3 seed. Are they the scariest team out west, Perk?
Hell no. That's the Oklahoma City Thunder, BC. Look, they have a lot of non-believers out there when it comes down to OKC. And like my grandmother used to say, God bless their heart. They don't know no better, baby. Because OKC check all the boxes. They've been the best defensive team in the league. They have a bona fide superstar who's going to win MVP in SGA. He's going to win it. And then you have 2 bigs that can anchor your defense. Everybody was wondering, can Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet play together? The answer is yes, because Chet's ability to be able to stretch the floor. Also, you have Jalen Williams. He's finally getting his legs up under him. They have great depth. When you look at Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, Alex Caruso, and Luke Dortz, this team is the real deal. The Thunder are still my favorite and my pick to go to the NBA Finals and represent the Western Conference.
Okay, if that's the case, Bobby, do you favor the Thunder or the field in a 7-game series?
Well, the knee-jerk reaction would say the field based on the MVPs in Golden State and Los Angeles and certainly in Denver here. The eye test in my head says Oklahoma City. I mean, this team's been the most dominant team all season long. They've got the likely MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They've got depth, and they've got a lot of different ways that they can match up with you. They can go big with the 2 bigs with Hartenstein and Holmgren. They can go small with Dort and certainly Caruso if they want to do that. And then Jalen Williams. Nobody talks about Jalen Williams as that second guy there. For me, it's Oklahoma City against the field any day of the week right now.
Okay, if that's the case, then who do you trust more to make a deep run to maybe challenge OKC? Is it the Lakers or the Warriors, Perk?
I got to go with Golden State. And look, I know the Lakers, been playing some beautiful basketball, but Golden State has an identity defensively. We heard LeBron James talk after the Oklahoma City game after they took that L, and he was saying they're still trying to find their identity. Well, Golden State is not in that position. You have 2 guys in Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green that are so special defensively that the rest of the team feeds off of them. You have a guy, Jonathan Kuminga, who comes in off the bench with his athleticism, who's, by the way, since returning from injury, has done an outstanding job of playing his role. Podziemski, he's no slouch defensively. And then you have the light-skinned brother with the green eyes that is capable of putting up 40 on you. And Steph Curry, I'm going with the Golden State Warriors.
I love it. All right, let's stay in the NBA, but let's go to the East here. And how about the Knicks? Jalen Brunson on the road visiting the Detroit Pistons. And this is the first quarter campaign. The steal. Look at Precious Achiuwa over Isaiah Stewart. in your face. Knicks led by 6, though, at the half. But let's get to the third. Things got chippy. Dennis Schroeder runs straight into Jalen Brunson and then stands over him. We want to talk about disrespectful. Precious Achua pushes Schroeder. And then look at this here. A couple possessions later, PJ Tucker pushes down Schroeder. He stands over him. So we go back and forth here. But, you know, it was then the Pistons who just took over. Knicks only scored 7 points the last 6 minutes of this game. Meanwhile, Cade Cunningham went off. Cade Cunningham couldn't miss. He had 36 points, 8 assists in this game, and the Pistons beat the Knicks again, 115 to 106. So now the Knicks nearly locked into that 3 seed. Pistons most likely locked into the 6 seed. ESPN Analytics giving the two teams a 64% chance to meet in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Last time these two met in the first round, 2020, and it was the Pistons who won that series 4-1. Perk, if that's the case, and let's say the Knicks are one and done in the playoffs, what does that mean, you think, for Tom Thibodeau?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Those 50 wins that the Knicks got, that's fool's gold. Because they haven't got one single win when it comes down to the top dogs in the Eastern Conference. So when I'm looking at a game last night, a possibly matchup that you're most likely going to see in the first round if you're the New York Knicks, why do you rest OG Anunoby? Why do you rest Mikal Bridges? You should be trying to send a statement and send a message to put doubt in this young team in the Detroit Pistons that say, nah, y'all can't mess with us. But instead, you let them go off. Cade Cunningham has an MVP-type performance. And I'm looking at Tom Thibodeau right now, and I'm saying, you're on the hot seat. You're under pressure. What they gave up to get Mikal Bridges, you get Karl Anthony Towns in the offseason. So you basically went all in. And the Knicks are on record saying that we're trying to get the personnel to match the defending champs. And so I'm looking at what's happening across the league. We watched the firing of Taylor Jenkins. We watched Michael Malone get fired. Tom Thibodeau better make it to the conference finals. Otherwise, I don't see him being the head coach of the New York Knicks past this season.
Bobby, your thoughts on that?
Well, listen, you go out and get Karl Anthony Towns and you give up 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, and the goal is not to lose in the first round or the second round. The goal is to get to a conference finals here. And I think where New York goes here, I think, listen, they're going to be staring at Boston or Cleveland in the second round if they get through Milwaukee or potentially Detroit here. And they've got to get through that first-round series relatively unscathed. How this roster is constructed, they cannot go into a series deep. They got to go through it 5 or 6 games, and I'm not sure that's going to be the case. We saw last night with Detroit. Milwaukee with the Giannis will be a problem here. So there is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on New York as far as, certainly getting out of the first round, but competing. I think that's the big word, competing with Boston and Cleveland. We haven't seen that this year.
Which was a better matchup, you think, for them, Perk, in the first round? Is it the Pistons or is it the Bucks?
I mean, I don't know, because the New York Knicks, they struggling. They have an identity crisis, BC. To be honest with you, you want to be playing some of your best basketball going into the postseason, and they're not doing that. And I'm watching Tom Thibodeau, and I love Tibbs. I won the NBA championship with him. That's my guy. But I got to keep it real here. I'm watching him be stuck in his ways. And when I say stuck in his ways, I'm watching him not challenge a guy like Karl Anthony Towns to be able to switch on pick and rolls and slide his feet and be able to try to guard, those perimeter guys. He is still playing that drop coverage. And we just saw some footage of it. Cade Cunningham had it his way coming off those screens. And so, again, I don't have confidence in the New York Knicks right now, going into these first-round matchups, because I believe right now against the season series against the Pistons, they're 1-3. Yeah. They're 1-3, and this Pistons team is serious. Those young Bulls are coming.
And they were over when you talk about the top 2 teams in the East, Cleveland and Boston. We'll see what happens with the Knicks here with the playoffs right around the corner. But coming up,
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng. Và hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là dưa hấu.